Hi, and welcome to Not the Fuck Gaming podcast where we talk about games and sometimes we don't say fuck. I am William Hououin, and I'm with.
Gruebitten.
And today we have a special guest, a recurring one, and one of our best commenters, our best and only commenters for the podcast, which is
Zachariah with Old Man Gaming, and we're definitely going to say fuck today because I have a sailor's mouth, so just warning everybody.
all right, it's fine. Very happy to have you on the podcast, and it's going to be a numbered episode, so there's some prestige to it.
Prestige! I made it in the world. I've accomplished my goals. Yeah.
Now you
I
can
die
go...
happy. Checking that off the bucket list.
All right, good. So, before I forget, because I always forget, we'll start with reading the comments from last episode. And we have somebody new who commented.
Wow.
We don't only have Zach this time. We have Mike W. Mike
W, you're now our favorite person.
Yep, we're quite happy about this, and he's the one who kept me company in my no commentary Wanted Dead hard run. So it was nice because he was typing stuff while I was playing, and it was pretty nice. And he commented on the podcast. He said, "I like the way that the Cat Quest games do their Mew Game Plus. They let you choose how it gets harder. Weak weapons only. Stay at level 1. Enemies are HP sponges." So I replied to him, is Mew Game Plus a typo or a very clever cat reference? And he said, it's correct. The game is filled with puns. So Cat Quest, have you ever played this?
I have not.
I played it for a bit. It's like RPG game, but with cats, and it was funny. I dropped it. Can't remember why. It's been a while, but they are pretty highly regarded in the funny RPG games.
I'll have to try them sometime.
There's the second one that is on Apple Arcade, but is leaving soon. So
No!
If you want to try it, now's the time. Yeah, I hate when they do that, removing games. It's kind of annoying, but that's what happened with those subscription services. You know,
Apple Arcade needs to sponsor your channel. Like, they just need to. I don't know why they don't already. You're like the only one out there doing Apple, like almost exclusively Apple Arcade stuff. I don't know why they haven't contacted you.
I guess I'll just need like 1 million more subs and they'll call me. We're getting there. We're getting there. But anyway, thank you for your comment, Mike. I hope you will comment on this episode, because we won't have Zach commenting on this one. So we need you. We need you because we won't have any comments.
I might comment. Oh, I have a problem not talking. So
all right, so we'll see. And talking about Zach, here's his comment. Hey, I watched the episode. They did add a bunch of mods in the most recent anniversary edition. I guess it's referring to Skyrim. They picked out a bunch of the most popular mods and added them officially. That's great. But at the same time, it's, reworking people for a company. But anyway. Yeah. Reviews should not give scores on game. Totally agree. It is super subjective on multiple levels, and one of the reasons when I do reviews, I don't. It's the only art on the planet that you directly interact with to change your experience. Well, you can also go to museum and, throw some paints at painting.
That's true. That's true. But still, like, you're doing the painting at that point. Like, I feel like if an artist, it's one of the only arts out there that the artist presents you with the ability to change the experience of the art. And I feel like that makes it so much harder. Like, if you're reviewing a movie, you can objectively say, well, this movie's bad because they did this wrong or they did this right or whatever. With a game, like, you're not just witnessing the content they're throwing at you, but you're also interacting with the content. Even if it's a very narrative, straightforward experience, like, are you doing it stealth? Are you doing it combative? Are you, how you interact with the game completely changes your experience with it. But I just don't feel that, like, you could really give scored reviews to video games. That's what I was kind of going for. I've already talked too much. I'm going to shut up now.
Yeah, no, it's fine. And I kind of agree. What's the difference between a 7 out of 10 game and a 7.5 out of 10 game? I mean, it's yeah. Every games are now 7 out of 10 anyway, so.
Oh yeah.
Although I do think you could score it potentially on whether it works or not.
Yes.
I mean,
yes.
there are games where it crashes twice before you even make your character.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think if you're gonna like do a scored review, which the manpower for this would be ridiculous, but I think if you're gonna do a scored review, you should have 3 completely different players playing it and giving their scores each separately, and then have another person just reviewing the hardware experience, like the UI and how it works.
Yeah, does the game work?
Right.
Because unfortunately nowadays it's a question that must be asked. Does this work?
Redfall.
Yeah, Redfall is quite the fall, actually.
Yes,
it's
and I agree to make a show out of it. It's wonderful. It's a special torture.
Yeah. Hopefully it's going to be very bad with views and you will stop. Yeah.
It's been great with views. Yeah.
Oh, well,
it's magical. Well, I got 68 views on the last one. The people really like watching us play a terrible game, so I guess I get to keep doing that. Awesome.
Well, you should come play Chimera Land with me then.
I've almost played Chimera Land multiple times since you started talking about it. I've almost, and then I'm like, I think this is going to be a bad experience for me. I don't want to not like something that Gru likes. I don't want that to be the experience.
You are free to not like things I like.
Yeah, me and Drew really dislike each other games.
It's amazing we ever met in a game.
Yep.
It is. It's the same with me and Neil. The guy I podcast with, he loves narrative, straightforward experiences. I hate narrative, straightforward experiences.
Yeah, well, I guess it makes more diverse opinions, so I think it's good.
Yeah,
Since I'm here, can I say one thing about my my greeting that I just wanted to point out?
Oh, of course. Go ahead.
So I was looking for my greeting in the comments, right? And I ended up settling on, hey, I watched the episode. But what I don't think you realized is I did that because of you. Because at the very end of an episode, you said, you can comment on this or just tell us, hey, you watched the episode. That was actually like a joke on something you said. So that's why I was like, hey, I watched the episode. You know what? That's the one. I'm going to keep it.
I mean, it's pretty good, and I didn't get the joke. So now
okay. I figured I had the chance to actually, on mic, explain the joke, which is a great idea. It always makes a joke funnier when you explain it.
Of course.
So good job, me.
So, on the score thing, it's just not possible to rate that on a scored basis by one person. Yeah, we talked about this. Autosave only is sometimes built into the experience. There is only autosave on State of Decay 2 because your survivors can die permanently. The sorrow of losing a character unique to you that you were attached to is part of the experience. Yeah. Overall, though, I agree. And screw games that are manual saves only. I'm 41. I can't remember to save. Thanks for the podcast, guys. Too fat to survive zombies. The city question last week was about what you would do if you have, an SUV and you were fleeing from zombies.
Yeah.
So thanks for your comments.
Right away, huh?
Yeah, I'm a
we decided.
Light. There's no way they wouldn't come for me fast.
And so just before we go into what we've played last week, I just wanted to shout out Afterplace, a game made by one dude, Even Kais, who won the Apple Design Award for the category Delight and Fun. So I just wanted to shout out Afterplace. I love Afterplace, made a whole playthrough on my channel. It's a fantastic Zelda-like experience in an open world with a bunch of secrets and fantastic NPCs. And so I wanted to congratulate Evenkais for winning the Apple design. So
Woo!
good job.
Congratulations.
Yep.
Yeah, woo. The one dude winning an award, that's amazing. The independent developers are heroes in gaming nowadays.
And
as
it's
far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
and I'm quite happy because it's a game, you have to purchase the game, and there's no microtransactions in it. It's a one-time deal.
Woo!
You buy the game, you play the game. And I think mobile would be a lot less
Sleazy?
hated. I don't know. It would be taken more seriously if there was more quote unquote real game like Afterplays. So yeah. Anyway, congrats. I just wanted to make sure I mentioned it in the episode. So, all right. What have you been playing since, for the past few weeks? Want to go first, Zach?
Sure. Well, I will say I was on vacation for a week, so I specifically did not play any video games except Marvel Snap on my phone. But the games I've been playing recently, I'm very obsessed with. There's a 4X game called Age of Wonders 4 that is amazing. And I'm not usually a 4X guy, but this game's just like totally sucked me in. It is from Paradox.
I'll admit I never heard of it. How's it called again?
Age of Wonders 4.
Huh.
The best part of this game is it's fantasy based. The whole idea is like you're playing like a god who's trying to like ascend to a pantheon. To do that, you've got to kind of like create your own it's kind of like Civilization, like Sid Meier's Civilization.
Okay.
Like that kind of, that's 4X, that kind of thing. But with this, they actually let you do the battles instead of just the two armies running into each other. You actually can strategically do the battles on like a CRPG kind of level, like on a hex-based, like move your armies and fight. But that's not the cool part of the game. The really cool part of the game is you build your fantasy race and hero from the ground up. So like you'll pick like ratlings, and then you get to make them tall or short. You get to make them fat or small. You get to change the color of their fur. You get to change what they wear, whether they're barbarians, whether a feudal system, what they hold true. Like you can take orcs and make them incredibly regal and wonderful, and you can take elves and make them cannibalistic psychopaths. Like the amount of customization that the game gives you is just, it's just so amazing. I could just play it nonstop.
Really cool.
It's so cool. Like,
I'm looking at some pictures. I'm gonna put some gameplay on screen.
Yeah, definitely. Even if you don't like 4X games, that aspect of it is so amazing. Plus, on the 20th, their first DLC comes out, which is paid for. But hey, man, they're making you pay for it. There's no internal microtransactions. That's fine. I don't mind.
Yeah, I'm fine with paid DLC. Yeah,
but they're adding the ability for your hero to be a dragon, so you can customize your own dragon lord to lead your army, and they're adding lizard men to it. It's just, this game is so much fun. Like, even though it's 4X and they can get really complicated and stuff, it's just sucked me in. I can't stop playing it. I've played through it probably about 6 or 7 times. There's very few parts of it that I don't like. There's also this aspect which you can't do this with a scored victory, which is unfortunate, but the other types of victory. So like the game ends, like it has a certain end where you have to do a certain thing to win, kind of like Civilization was. With this though, you can actually become allies with the other players or the other allied people and actually help them win, and if they win, you win, which is like, you can actually play diplomatically, which is just that game is so good. It gives me chills just talking about it. I love that game.
Maybe Gru would like it because she could ally with the bad guys.
Yes. 100%. I had a game. The only thing I'll say is turn score victory off, because the score victory is like you set a certain number of turns. The game absolutely ends at that turn, and then the person with the highest score wins. They don't let you win if your ally wins, which is stupid. But you have to turn score victory off, and then you can get a military victory by wiping out everybody who's not in your alliance. And I actually know another guy, a friend of mine, who's playing it right now. He plays it with actual people, which you can make it asynchronous because it's turn-based. So you could just like set up a game with like 4 of your friends and just play it when you get a chance to, and like almost like playing chess online or something. And then, he won by tricking everybody into allying with him, and they didn't realize they were allying with him. So the minute everybody had allied with him, even though they hadn't allied with each other, he won because he was allied with everybody. So he got a military victory by not ever attacking anyone. Like that kind of stuff in the game. Just really cool. I just love the customization and the creation. It procedurally generates the world too every time you go into it. It's just so much fun. And then unfortunately, the other game I'm playing is a AAA game, but it is an actual good AAA game, which is Hogwarts Legacy.
I mean, hey, I'm not against AAA game. I want AAA games to do well, to not be broken and to not be sleazy. I mean, it's fine. I'm not an anti-AAA game. I'm fine.
I specifically got it to do Prelude, which is the show I do with my wife, because she's not a gamer, but she had read a couple of these books to Stella when she was younger. So I was like, I'm going to play this. I'm going to make you in it, and then you get to make all the talking decisions, and I'll do all the fighting decisions. And then we'll record that for our show. And then I ended up playing it myself because it's just there's a lot of talking, which is not a huge thing that I love, but it's just they really reward exploration in it, and they really make you feel like you're in Hogwarts and Hogsmeade and all that. And I've never read one of those books, but suddenly I have this like interest in that world just because of how good they made this game. Wow. So that's the other one I'm playing. And then, of course, 2K23 GM mode, eternally a wrestling fan. That's it. That's all I'm playing right now.
All right. Well,
I talked too much. I didn't take up anybody's time.
No, it's fine.
You guys feel free to tell me to shut up. Like, seriously.
It's cool to listen to you talk about games you enjoy instead of bad news in the gaming world. So
I know. Good. And then the last time I was on, you picked like something that I'm the most negative on to talk about. I was like, oh no, I gotta cut. Oh no. Now his people are all going to think I'm a negative a-hole. Oh, and all my people already know I'm a negative a-hole. Oh, man.
Yeah. Well, all right.
I have a dumb question.
Sure.
What's a 4X game?
Okay, so 4X is a type of strategy. Specifically, it refers to like Sid Meier's Civilization, where the idea is you're not necessarily creating you're not, okay. We're actually doing our podcast on this tonight. So like there's a few different types of strategy, but like with 4X, you're running an entire like civilization, or you are like running an entire like group of people and building new cities and stuff like that. So 4X, and I don't know exactly where 4X comes from, that term, but like Civilization, Stellaris, Planetfall, just about everything Paradox makes. They're all 4X games, whereas your other strategy games like CRPGs are like the turn-based, but you have like a group, of people that you're moving around to hex. And then there's the JRPG, which we are all familiar with, like Final Fantasy and stuff like that. And then you have the RTS, which is like real-time strategy, like Warcraft or Starcraft and stuff like that. But 4X is like you're controlling the entire civilization and its development. Through technology, through advancement, through alliances, everything.
So the 4X is, I'm not smart, I just Googled it, stands for explore, expand, exploit, and exterminate.
That is never what I thought it would have meant, but thank you.
Yep. I thought 4X, yeah, I thought it was more referring to like the amount of stuff you have to take care of. For a lack of better term. But yeah,
that's what I was thinking of too. Yeah.
Well, it's kind of this, but it's X for explore, expand, exploit, exterminate. So
cool. Okay.
Anyway.
Well, there you go.
Well, the more
It's
you
got
know.
me beat. Much better description than the one I gave, and more succinct and to the point.
I don't know. I actually think your description was better. That does not give me.
Yeah, that doesn't
Explore,
mean much.
Exploit, exterminate doesn't sound like civilization. Well, actually, kind of.
Kind of,
depending on the civilization.
all right.
Little Genghis Khan extermination there. Yeah.
So what about you, Gru? What have you been playing?
Me? Not a lot of new stuff. A friend got me back into Chimera Land, and I've been playing a lot of that, and yeah, enjoying its incredible horrendousness. I mean, it's just like every time I play it, the words "a hot mess" come into my head. But I've been having some fun with it. Like we did a dance ball. It's the only game I know where if you dance, you get experience towards combat. And we did a dance ball, and a bunch of random people joined us. One of them was this naked guy on fire, and
oh yeah, you posted a screenshot, right?
Yeah,
I saw that.
like,
I'm gonna put it on screen now.
Fireman, and I'm like, yep, that's this game.
That is an MMO. That's an MMO-ass MMO right there.
Yep, Chimera Land resumed in one picture. A dancing naked guy. Yep. On fire, of course.
On fire, yes.
Yeah. All right.
But I did play a couple little games from Apple Arcade.
Of course, our future sponsor.
Apple Arcade, sponsor these guys. Sponsor them.
The first was Kimono Cats by Human Nature Studios. It reminds me a lot of Animal Crossing Pocket Camp. Not Animal Crossing on like Animal Crossing, but Pocket Camp.
Pocket Camp was the mobile, right?
Yeah. Where you basically do little mini games and then you buy the furniture for your little camp and you decorate it. And all the furniture is like pre-made and it's all like sort of 2D stuff. And you just place it. It's fun. It doesn't have as much of a variety of mini games. Mostly you're like walking with your significant other and popping balloons with darts to get stuff. But if you enjoy that kind of game, it's fun, and it got a lot more fun for me after I discovered that you can indeed change your gender, and you can change the gender of your significant other to whatever you want. So after I changed myself to a girl kitty with a boy kitty companion, that appealed to me a lot better than being a boy kitty with a girl kitty companion.
I get that.
Yeah, Zach is a huge fan of relationship with NPCs.
That is not the words I've used, but yeah, I'm a huge fan of relationships with NPCs.
in video games.
All the STDs in Fable 2 prove it. Yep.
And this time I actually remembered to record when I played it, so.
Oh, that's great.
Yes.
I'll wait for you to send it to me and include it.
The other one I played was Grindstone by Cappy or Capey.
That's a popular one, right?
I've heard that's good. That's good.
Really?
Well,
sorry. I mean, I didn't mean
to. That's good. That's great.
All right.
You did? I heard that. Did you?
More about it.
There's nothing wrong with it.
Maybe we should move on then, I suppose.
No, but I've seen it in many lists of those types of games, but it seems that you're not exactly fond of it. But let's go talk Talk to us
Okay,
about Grindstone.
it's got a really cute like tough guy aesthetic. That's it's well done. But basically, it just seems to be like one of those matching popping games, like Candy Crush.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
This is
I
how
don't
you
like that.
grind the stone, I guess.
Yeah. So that, I mean, I didn't play it for long, because that's not really my type of thing. If there's more to it, maybe I just missed it, but that's what you do. You match things.
Yeah, it's a matching game.
You can like get certain resources in the matching, and then you create your gear. Your gear is the same thing as like the little like special gems you buy in Candy Crush to do special things with. Your gear will do special things too.
Interesting. That definitely sounds less fun now. I'll give you that.
Yeah. My wife has been playing Toy Blast for like 2 years. She's like level, I don't know, 500 or something. And yeah, she's not a gamer. She don't really play games. Like sometimes we're gonna play like Mario Party with the kids or Mario Kart, but she's not like she doesn't play games. But while I'm saying this, she's spending quite a bit of time on Toy Blast. So I don't know. Well, and when I say quite a bit of time, it's like the game. She pops her phone like when the chicken is in the oven, and she's gonna play like 30 minutes of Toy Blast, and then in bed before sleeping, she's gonna play a 30 minute of Toy Blast. But it's like a 15, 30 minutes here and there during the day. But yeah, and she's been playing this for quite some time, and I haven't talked to her about it really, but I've been thinking sometime, does it makes her a gamer? What makes somebody a gamer is because it's not the type of game they play. If you play quite a bit of game, I guess you're a gamer, right?
I think everybody's a gamer. I think everybody on the face of the planet's a gamer. And I think anybody who says otherwise doesn't understand, like, because I don't know anybody who you don't talk to who doesn't have something they play on their phone or, something. And it's just like, you're a gamer. You're just a different type of gamer, My wife plays Best Fiends all the time. That's hers, is Best Fiends. It's the same thing. It's like a matching game, but you have like these little Pokemon creatures that, like, if you match in a certain way, they do special moves or whatever. And yeah, but she's a gamer. She probably plays more hours of that than I do of some of my most favorite games,
Yeah. Anyway, it just got me thinking.
Well, the things that I tend to think of as mini games, like I would think of both of the Kimono Cats and Grindstone as a mini game. But those were some of the first games, like Tetris. Tetris was one of the first games, and it's what we think of as a mini game these days.
Yeah, and Tetris like legitimately changed people's brain patterns back then. That stuff is, I mean, that was invented for the like Russian KGB or whatever. Like, so yeah.
If you like the matching popping games, then this is a good one, I would say.
Right.
It's not my cup of tea, but that doesn't mean it's not a good game.
I've been doing a lot of TTRPG stuff, the tabletop role-playing game stuff on my channel lately. Like, in the vein of Dungeons and Dragons, but that kind of stuff. I've always been into that because I need apparently 7,000 hobbies. But I've ended up talking to a lot of people who only play those. They don't play video games, but the amount we have in common is staggering. I would call them gamers too, even though I know a guy who hasn't picked up a video game in probably about 5-6 years. He said, I don't want to play games anymore. I just want to play TTRPGs. And I'm just like, that's fair. But like, you're still committing time to that game. And that game is very similar. Like, what you want out of the game is very similar to what most gamers want out of their gaming experience,
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're all gamers. Put it on a shirt.
Unless you're really boring.
Because if you ask my wife, are you a gamer? She will, I'm sure she will say no.
Yeah, my wife says the same thing, and then
I kind of disagree.
Yeah. She's better at Mario than me. So you're definitely something. You're definitely not a gamer.
Yep.
Maybe a gamer is how into it you are.
Yeah. Like a gamer level.
Like we all cook, but not all of us are cooks.
That's true.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good
Good
analogy.
point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. I like this. Yep. Have you played anything else?
No, that's pretty much it. I mean, some of my usual games, but not a lot.
All right. Well, on my end, I've played Wanted Dead not too long ago from the developer Soleil, which means sun, but it's a Japanese developer. But anyway, and realized they made two other games. It's a pretty recent company, so they don't have a huge catalog, but they made two other games. They made a Samurai Jack game. Do you know the cartoon Samurai Jack? Because I didn't.
Yes.
Yes.
Got the first 3 seasons down here in my my old tiny cartoon chest.
Okay, so you know about it. So they
Oh,
made a licensed game that is available on Apple Arcade. But anyway, and so I wanted to see what else they've done because some of those guys worked back in the day on the Ninja Gaiden series on Xbox, and I've played it. Took me like 5 hours. It's not a long game, but from what I've gathered online, it's very faithful to the series. They even hired the voice actor of the series, so the dude who's voicing Jack is the same in the game than in. So it's not a cheap knockoff. I
Wow.
thought it was a very competent action game. It just didn't grab me that much because I know nothing of the source material. So. Of course, I was not the target audience, but I thought it was great. A lot of weapon to use. It's really like a 3D action game, very Ninja Gaiden-esque, but more for younger people. But I thought it was all right. I don't have much to say, but I've played that to completion, so that's going to be on my games I've finished in 2023 list. So, and after that, I've looked at what other games they've made, and they've made Valkyrie Elysium. I don't know if you've heard of it. And
Sounds familiar, but I'm not sure.
Does. But there's so many different Valkyrie and Elysium uses in
yeah, no, it's
Japanese gaming.
It's supposed to be in the same universe of Valkyrie Profile.
Okay,
that was quite popular.
I know that one.
Yeah, but it's treated very differently because they've made it an action game instead of a JRPG, and fans were kind of mad about it. But I've played that to completion. Took me about 11 hours. It was really not that difficult, and I'm not a huge fan of the Norse mythology with Odin and a bunch of terms I cannot say. You have like NPCs accompanying you, and they're like Har or something like that. Even listening to the voice acting, I cannot reproduce what they're saying to call them.
I can't either. So
the story really didn't grab me, but the action was nice. It was fun to play. A lot of different skills and a lot of abilities. You were also having some kind of hook shot that grabbed an enemy and pull you towards it, and it was super fun to use with enemies that were like far from you or below or yeah, I've enjoyed it, but they charge for the digital version, all right, on the PlayStation Store Canada, $79 and $99. So yeah, no fucking way.
Wow.
Yeah, it's no. It's not $80 games. With taxes, it's like $90 games. It's no.
Let's say, will it come mow my lawn too? Because Jesus Christ.
Yeah, there's no way it's worth that. If you're interested by it, go look at your local library or something. I don't know what to tell you. Don't I've enjoyed it. I don't know. I $20 enjoyed it, maybe something like that. Yeah. But I've so now to this day, I've played the entire catalog of Soleil games. So
we need that on a shirt too. $20 enjoyed it. $20 enjoyed it.
New rating.
Yeah.
Yeah, instead of a score out of 10, we're gonna score it out of $100.
How much would you? How much is this worth to you?
It's actually not that stupid when you think about it.
That's not bad. That's actually not bad. I may rip that off some point in the future.
Yeah, feel free to do it. But I think it's not that stupid as an idea to score games. Like, how much would I've paid for it? And for Valkyrie Elysium, I would have paid like 20. But yeah, and this is pretty much all I've played, I think. I don't have that. Oh, I've replayed Scourgebringer. I went back into Scourgebringer and played it quite extensively last week. Finished the game in 22 minutes. This is my new best time. 22 minutes.
Nice.
I can barely get through the first stage of that game.
It's a hard game. It's really a hard game. I now have and I've unlocked all achievements. I now have all achievements for Scourgebringer. I'm quite happy about it. I'm looking to buy it on PlayStation to get the platinum trophies.
It's not good enough that I have the achievements in one place. I need to get all the achievements,
I want the achievements
again
in other places. Yep. It was super fun to get.
That's a new level of achievement hunting right there.
You need to contact the devs, tell them to send you ones that you can stick on your mantelpiece.
Yes. I
mean,
need a trophy room for him.
Scourgebringer is probably one of my top 10 games of all time. I really enjoy this. Once you get into I think the trick is to dash a lot. My finger is always on the dash button. And
my hand went numb playing that in like 5 minutes. It was insane level of like, I just have to constantly be airborne, throwing stuff everywhere at all the time.
Exactly. This is how you play. Yep, exactly.
Okay, all right, and I'm dead. All right, cool. Like even when you're fighting a boss, like a boss will take you like 30 seconds, and it is the longest, most stressful 30 seconds of your entire life to fight that boss.
Yeah, it's really hard, for real. It's a hard game. It's very fast paced.
It's a good one though. It's a good one.
But it's so good. The music, the soundtrack of this game, man, it's crazy.
It's amazing. You were not wrong about that. I immediately found that on
on
my phone. I'm listening to that.
It's on another level. I think it's not in the same style. I'm not saying it's but in terms of quality, it's Doom 2016 level of quality soundtrack. It's really outstanding. And to have that in a small, I've paid this game $8. So yeah, I definitely, it's an $80 game for me. And I'm not done with it. I'm still playing, and I'm gonna buy it again. I'm pretty sure I'll buy it on PlayStation and go get the trophy.
Don't pay $80 for it, Jesus.
No, they're selling it on regular 20, and I'll probably grab it when it's on sale at 10. So it's fine. I won't go bankrupt for this. But yeah. So yeah, I've played quite a bit actually of Scourgebringer. But this is all. This is what I've played. All right. So the talking point today is last time we did what's a feature you would like to see more in games, and we brought up New Game Plus, randomizer, autosaves, and I can't remember what other stuff we talked about, but this time it's the opposite. What's a feature you would like to see less in games? Do you have any?
I definitely have some. I don't want to talk over anybody else though.
All right. Well, you can go first.
Yeah, you're the guest. You go first.
Oh, you guys are too nice. I didn't mean to go first. My biggest one is one that is in games. It fairly is in games right now. fairly a small amount. You don't see it often, but whenever I see it, it drives me absolutely nuts. And that's when an NPC is taking you through a tutorial of a game and the NPC is telling you the buttons. Like, I can't stand this. Why does he know I'm pressing L? I'm not pressing L. I'm this guy that he's talking to. Why does Steve from the market know that if I press why is he talking weird? If you press the down stick, you'll be able to duck. Well, how do you know that, Steve? Are you Deadpool? What's happening right now? Like, why can't he just say duck and then a prompt on the screen go, press this to duck? Why is Steve telling me that? I don't understand when that started in games. I think it's all Nintendo's fault, I'm pretty sure. But like, it started in games at some point, and then it was just like the commonplace for a really long time that like when you were in a tutorial mission, somebody was like, press L to glide. Like, how do you know to do it? What are you talking about? I'm just a guy walking around in a field. Like, it drives me nuts. Absolutely drives me nuts. It needs.
That's a good one. That's a good
and
one.
Zelda still does it to this day. To this day, one of the most popular games on the planet, Kingdom of the Tears or whatever. That
Tears of the Kingdom, yeah.
It still is like
You're close.
Press this button to do this thing. Why? Why are you telling me this? Drives me nuts.
All right. Yeah, that's a good one. That's
Tears
a good
for
one.
buttons.
Tears for buttons. Tears for everybody who bought this game.
They should have charged $10 more.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, they should have. And they should have not only charged $10 more, but made half the game. Because everybody would have bought it. No, and everybody would still be saying it's the best game that's ever made, even though it's a glorified DLC. I don't want to. I don't get negative.
Yeah. Let's not. Let's keep it.
Oh no, Zach!
It's my fault. I opened the door, but
Zach's leaning. He's leaning over the edge. Yeah. I actually yelled at my co-host on the podcast about this game.
I've listened to it. It got ugly, but you were kind of right. This is what's sad about this.
I was right in a very wrong way.
Yeah. Yeah,
I was yelling at my friend for enjoying something, and that's the wrong way to do it. But I was right. I shouldn't have yelled at my friend for that. The shout out to Neil, aka Tiny Wizard. He's my podcast host on mine, and he's a very nice dude, and he puts up with a lot of my shit.
Yeah, Neil is great. I really like the podcast you're doing.
I've had other people go, why do you do the podcast with him? And I was like, because if I did the podcast with anybody else, we'd fight, and then we wouldn't be friends anymore. Like, Neil's the only one who, like, he perfectly, like, can deal with it when I gets really crazy about stuff, and he's a great podcast host. He really is. He's very good at podcasting. He is the only person who would put up with me as many years as we've been doing it as he has.
Yep, probably.
I know. It got really weird because I went super negative there, and then we went really positive and heartfelt. This podcast is already all over the place.
Is there other features you would like to see less in games?
You know, honestly, this is kind of a cop-out, but I am sick of playing somebody else's character in games. I just feel like we're past the point where I should be playing a specific hero anymore. Like, I want to be able to create the hero from the ground up. I want that customization. So nowadays with games, the minute I see that I'm playing a specific person, I'm pretty turned off to the game right off the bat.
No, really?
Yeah, I was saving this one because I knew this one was going to be a little bit. It's also kind of a cop-out because it's basically like me saying I want more customization in games on a show when I'm supposed to be saying what I should be wanting less. But
no, it's fine. I think
I've loopholed it. So I don't. Games are so powerful nowadays. We're not playing Mario anymore. We're playing these like really interesting experiences, and I'm not necessarily talking about the super independent stuff. But like even those have the versatility to give you the customization. Even if I'm playing like an 8-bit sprite, Let me change his clothes. Let me change whether it's a guy or a girl. Let me change what he likes, what he doesn't like. Give me the customization to create whatever I want. I'm so sick of playing. And don't get me wrong, I like Nathan Drake. I like the Uncharted, but I'm so sick of playing Nathan Drake because I'm not Nathan Drake. I don't want to play Nathan Drake anymore. I want to make a character to play in Nathan Drake's world. That's what I want. I want to play in somebody else's world. So it's a huge turnoff to me when a game is announced and it's a specific person that I'm playing. They just announced Ubisoft just today announced their Star Wars game that is probably never going to come out because Ubisoft makes trailers, not actual games. But
oh God,
the main character is this woman named Kai, which she looks cool. I'm not saying she doesn't look cool. I don't want to play her though. I want to play my own outlaw in Star Wars. You know what I mean? Like I don't want to play a specific person. And I want that customization. So like, it's hard for me anymore to play games with other people's characters in it, I guess.
I can totally get what you mean, but I can't say I feel that. I don't mind. And to be fair, in some games, because of how the story is, it would. I don't want to spoil, but let's say that in Dismantle,
okay,
it would not really work if you were somebody else. We'll just say that. Sometimes it's like, they want to tell a story and it needs to be this character, I think. Well, I'm really not bothered by it. In games where I can make in games when I can make my character, do you know what character I make? I make a white dude with dark hair and a beard. All right. This is what I do. I
always have mutton chops because I can't grow mutton chops in real life, and I've always wanted them. So I always have huge, like a mutton chops or mutton stash. Always.
Really? Because I make something different every
more
time.
Than 5 minutes in a character.
That's awesome. That's awesome that you do. But like a good example, Hogwarts Legacy is an extremely narrative experience. It is extremely story-oriented. There is tons of conversation. There is tons of talking. But at the same time, I get to create a man or woman at the beginning that's my character, that represents me, and the story still is told seamlessly around me. It doesn't matter what I've created. Plus, they give you all these choices in it where I can like talk to the person I want to talk to, and that's the person who's going to help me when I go out into the field and stuff like that. Like, I feel like we're in a space where narratively you can tell a story without necessarily like hamstringing me into being an exact specific person, you know?
Yeah, you're definitely right that nowadays it's easier. I remember in the early 2000s, some games were giving you the option to be like male or female. And when you chose female, some NPCs still referred to you as he. You remember that?
Yeah.
There was a bunch of games doing this.
It still happens.
Yeah. But we can say like,
NPCs will flatter and flirt with you, and you're like, really? I don't think that you were intended as a gay character, but okay.
Yeah.
But actually, that brings up something because I do like to change up my looks. I usually am female, but I do occasionally create male characters. But I have also created characters with dark skin, and sometimes I'm like, I don't generally do that on online games because I feel like, what's the ethics of that? Am I co-opting somebody else's experience or something? Because I just like having a variety. I like looking different, but I don't want to be offensive.
Right. Yeah, we're in a really weird space with the offensive stuff because it's the same. You want to respect everybody, but it's kind of tricky. Yeah, my kid right now, she's 7 years old. She plays Roblox, and she just makes whatever. She's unaffected by. She's 7. She's unaffected by racism or any of that stuff yet. You know, she's only tip of the iceberg for that kind of stuff. You know, so
Yeah.
she really likes making dark-skinned characters. She just does. She thinks they're pretty. But at the same time, you're like, how do I explain to this kid that it, like, is that okay? You know, I'm not even sure if it's okay. Or
I don't know.
is she digitally wearing blackface? Like, what is the line on that? It's very tricky. I agree with that. It presents very, very weird situations, without a doubt. Without a doubt. Or even like with the tabletop role playing games, you know, I play in a group and I had a guy who was playing a Mexican, and like I was sitting there and it's a bunch of white dudes playing this game around a table in a garage, and I was like, is this guy being racist right now? Like, and it's real tricky, the line on that, you know, it's really tricky. Yeah, I agree.
All right. Any other stuff you would like to see less?
Well, not for me. Those are my big ones.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, there's probably a long list as I do, but, you know.
I mean, anything microtransaction-y.
Yeah,
or
I know
bullshit,
it's the easy.
I was trying to stay away from that one because
it's the. I think we all do. We all, you know. Yeah, it's the obvious one. Of course, we want less monetization in our games.
Yes.
But
I mean,
this is.
I'd like less CD Projekt Red in the world. I don't know if I could say that.
I mean, you can.
Just them in general as a company. I'd like less of that.
I'm a big fan of action RPGs, and I've got The Witcher 3 at my local game shop for like $10 used, and I've tried it because it's quite the it's one of the most acclaimed game. It's like Skyrim level of acclaimed.
Well,
and
like
yeah,
the TV show.
Couldn't get into it. I really couldn't. I don't know why.
There is a baby mission in that game that I couldn't play it after that because I got a weird trigger with kids. Like if the kid stuff gets too like violent or whatever, like I don't. I'm too old. I don't want to deal with that stuff. And there's a whole story.
Also, being a parent, it's hard.
Yeah,
I know as a parent, like dealing with kid stuff after I had a kid is the hormones.
So much harder.
The hormones get triggered, and you cannot deal with seeing kids get hurt.
No, and like I don't see it's one thing if somebody has like a terrible backstory and that's in it. Okay, I get why you did that, but like when you have to like play through something like that, I think games make it so much more real too because you're actually like controlling it. And in Witcher 3, there's this mission with basically it's like an unborn child ghost. Like it's like a fetus ghost, and you have to deal with this. And it's like the father was a scumbag, and it was an illegitimate child, and now it's haunting him. And you have to deal with the ghost, and you have to basically drag this bastard father through the situation, so that he understands what he's dealing with in order to like allow the ghost to rest. And of course the ghost is a baby ghost, so its trigger is always crying, so it's constantly crying, and it's just like I'm getting chills just talking about it. Like I was full on crying through it, especially since you start to feel bad for the scumbag dad because he starts to feel bad for what he did, so he's just like torturing himself even though he kind of deserves it. You're still watching the pain. You're watching the kids paint, and you're just like, I can't do this game anymore. I'm done.
Yeah, wow.
The cool parts of that game, though, is if you just avoid the main quest stuff and just go around to each different city and find new cool things to hunt, that was really cool. I really enjoyed that. I stopped doing any storyline stuff, and I would just go from like city to city. And like they would have like a bounty board, and it would be like, we're hearing wailings from the graveyard. And then I'd be like, I'm going to search that out. And then you find out, like, you have to find out what kind of thing it is and what kind of ghost it is and how to stop it and how to kill it. That was really cool part of that game. But they just, that mission, just, I couldn't play it after that. I have a major trigger with that stuff.
Yeah, I can understand that.
So, what about you, Gru? We talked a bit in private about the subject for today, and you told me that your thing you would like to see less in game start with a D and end with Litty, and I don't know what it is.
Durability.
Oh, yeah. So you want to see less of that, yeah.
Yes.
Like weapon breaking, for
Yes.
example.
Yeah. And especially if it takes a long time to craft or get your good weapon, and then you can't use it because you don't want to wear down the durability. And you end up using only crappy weapons that you don't care about. Carefully not touching all the good ones. Like,
looking at you, Nintendo! Looking at you!
Like, way to ruin the gaming experience. Way to ruin the fun.
We had when I was playing Final Fantasy XIV, there was when you died, your weapon and armor would lose some durability. And once you died a few times, like you were in a raid, and then after wiping a few times, you would have to exit the raid, go to the merchant, repair the stuff, and it was pennies, all right? Everybody could afford repairing their gear. It was really pennies. But then, what was the utility in that? It was we needed to exit the raid, go to the merchant, repair the stuff, and then reload everybody into the raid. Oh my god, that was such a waste of time. And it was not even a gold sink because it was pennies. Telling you, it was everybody could afford it. Even if you were wiping all day long, it was fine. It was just a waste of time.
We've seen that in games like Villagers and Heroes, that people get upset and avoid dying anyways, even if there's absolutely zero consequences to it.
Yep, indeed.
Yeah,
indeed.
I think that like it also is a way for game companies to add content without adding content. We used to complain about this when me and Philbilly did a lot of coverage on Borderlands. Grinding isn't content. And this is the same.
Exactly.
This is kind of along those lines. They love to make these games where they're like, it's a survival game and it's realistic. Okay, cool. But when you're taking something and you're putting it under the guise of realism, and it's like, you can tell that they're like, well, they're going to have to go back to this place to craft this sword again, over and over again. And that's going to add another hour or two to the gameplay experience, even though it's not a fun thing. I think there's much more creative ways to do durability than they do. I think like if you play like Monster Hunter World, there's a durability to your close combat weapons. And it's specifically sharpness. As you attack the monsters, as you fight the monsters, your weapon starts to get dull, but it never breaks. It never shatters. It never like goes away. You just have to temper it every so often. That gives you that realism without adding this insane fetch quest to it.
And you need to find a spot to sharpen your weapon. Safely. It's a game mechanic. I like this.
Right.
I like this. This is a good way.
Yeah, it's adding like a level of realism to the fight. That's cool. But when you're adding something that's just like, I got to go do this shit again. It's the same with Zelda. Zelda is the worst purveyor of this because the weapon breaks. There's no way to fix the weapon. So if you liked the weapon, there's no reason to use the weapon. They literally have more reasons to not use a weapon you like than to use the weapons you like, which is very, very frustrating. And it makes it very fetchy when you're like, I'm going to go do this thing. And then you realize all your weapons are broken except for sticks. You realize, well, I got to go over to this place to collect a bunch of like glass fucking weapons. And also game creators out there, not just Nintendo, any game creator out there, swords are made out of metal. Guys, they're made out of metal, all right? They don't break after 6 attacks. They don't. You want to say sharpness, okay, especially when you're fighting a dragon. I understand that you're hitting something that's going to dull your blade. Okay, get it. But, like, they're metal. Why is all the weapons I have just exploding every time I hit anything with them? It's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, it is.
It's so that they can make you mine 3 different nodes and then go back to the thing so that, New World, Amazon's MMO was a big, like they were they had some good stuff going for them, but they were a big proponent of that, where it would be like the weapon would start to break, but to get the weapon, you'd have to go mine this thing for like 15 minutes. And then you'd have to go over here and mine this other thing for 15 minutes. And then that's how you'd fix the weapon. It's like, oh, no, that's not grinding is not content.
I agree with that. And this year in particular, I've been really into more arcadey games like pick up and play. And it made me realize how some games have so much just bloat in it. And it's just a waste of time.
Well, when people say that, well, you have to do this for realism, I say, well, if reality were so much fun, I'd be playing that.
Oh, amen, sister. Seriously, I don't play the game for realism.
Let's put that on a t-shirt.
Man, every time a movie ends and I'm like, that was such a sad ending, and somebody's like, oh, it's realistic. I'm like, well, I could just walk out front and watch some realism. I can go to the hospital and watch some realism. I'm not going to the movie to watch that shit. I'm going to it to escape. It's all escapism. They forget that. I totally agree. Like, so frustrating. So frustrating.
And my other little
you have another one. Go
is
ahead.
Excessive computer censoring of chat in multiplayer games.
Oh, that's a good one.
I can understand having computer censoring of words like shit or fuck, but when it gets to the point where you can't communicate with each other, like you mentioned Roblox for a while, I think they stopped it. We're censoring numbers. You couldn't put any numbers in chat. And you try playing a game with other people without being able to say any numbers. You know, oh, I have 4 papayas. I can give you one. No, you can't say that.
Yeah, that's terrible. They do that on YouTube when I would be streaming, and people would start to talk to me. We have to have words for things like some of the words have to be ugly. Sorry, guys. These are words.
Yeah. But yeah, it's a good one. I remember how painful it was to play Utopia because of this.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
It was very annoying.
Yeah. And half the items they had in the game you couldn't say. Like furnace.
Yeah, true. They were censoring
furnace.
it was so stupid. Yeah.
Which is hysterical because you've got an object in the game. Like, at least those should be okay.
Yeah. Oh, and you can't. Oh, this is in Chimera Land too. You can't say, "Okay, let's go kill the Grand." You can't say kill.
Oh, you can't say kill. Yeah. Wow.
It's a game where you kill stuff.
You can't say that you're doing that.
That's dumb. But it's probably because in the language in let's say in Chinese, KIL is for something terrible or something. It's probably a translation issues, but
I don't know. Well, Chimera Land's not actually that bad. Utopia is just it's frustrating.
Yeah, it was.
So many things, like and S. If you have 2 S's in a row, and if you type 2 S's in a row in Utopia, your whole sentence will get
2 S's.
That's 2 S's, great. Yes.
They're trying to work ass in there somewhere, guys. Every 2 S. That's what they're trying to do.
Yeah.
All right. So mine. I said that mine started with on and ended with ni or knees, I guess. Not too sure. NE. But I forgot there was probably an S to put after that. But anyway, mine is unskippable cutscenes. I cannot believe that, because I feel that when developers started to make the cutscenes unskippable, I have a feeling that it was to hide some loading time. The game was loading during the cutscenes. It's like when you see an animation of a door opening, it's actually a loading time. Like in the old Resident Evil, the opening of the door was actually a loading screen. So, yeah.
That's how Halo was. If when me and Neil went back to play Halo, you realize that there's just elevators everywhere in Halo 1 and 2 and 3. just tons of elevators, and you realize you're like they needed that to load back on the original hard drive, so you're just constantly going up a freaking elevator that hides a loading screen.
Yeah, so I believe it was part of that. But nowadays, seriously, I mean, the first time I will play a game, of course I will watch the cutscene. I want to know what the story's about. But you know, once you've played it a few times, God, let me skip the cutscene. I know what the story's like. Oh my God, this is so aggravating. And nowadays, too, in more narrative-driven games, some cutscenes are super long. It's not like 30 seconds. It's, you know, I replayed a bit of Resident Evil 4 not too long ago, and you can skip the opening cinematics that is like 4 minutes.
Ooh.
And so it's like, oh my God, let me just play the game.
I'm gonna bring some heat on this one. I think cutscenes in general should be gone. We don't need them. We don't need them anymore. Let me move the guy around. Let me play the guy, and then tell me the stuff that's happening. Like a cutscene, I don't want a cutscene that's longer than like a minute and a half. Period. I don't want to be sitting here watching a movie. If I want to watch a movie, I will pick out a movie and I will sit down with a nice drink and I will watch that movie. I don't want to watch the movie. Like, I mean, you have those game experiences which are just all cutscenes, like Quarry and stuff like that. But like,
yeah.
Like, and I'm not talking about that. But like Hogwarts, I like Hogwarts. I think it's a great game. I'm now going to complain about it because I'm a hypocrite. But they have these like moments where like. And you can skip the cutscenes, but it's like you have to hold down and skip, and then it skips like a 30-second chunk, and then you got to hold down and skip again. So when I went back to play through it again, I was trying to skip the cutscenes that I had already seen with my wife. It took me forever to get through those cutscenes skipping. And like, why am I not just playing right now? Why am I not just moving around? And sometimes they do that well, where it's like, okay, you're walking from one city to the next, and the guy's telling you exposition. Cool, I'm down. Like that's the way I want you to deliver the information to me because I'm playing the game. I am so sick of these huge cutscenes, like, and them being like the centerpiece of the game. I want to play the game. Like I'm here to play the game. Let me play the game. And then you'll get to these points where you're like playing and you're having this awesome moment and you're doing something really cool and you beat a guy and then it stops your whole forward momentum to then go into this pre-scripted cutscene where your character is doing stuff that they've just decided they're going to do, even though in your head your character is a completely different thing and you want to do your own thing. Like, I don't like cutscenes on a whole. Like, obviously, you've got to use them sometimes to tell games, but I think the cutscenes have gotten out of control. Like, every AAA company loves, like, huge, in-depth cutscenes where so much stuff is happening, and it's just like Cyberpunk. Cyberpunk, the first hour of that game, 40 minutes of it is cutscene.
Yeah, that's annoying. Remember that?
40 minutes?
It's something like that. It's insane. Like it'll do like a big like 4 minutes of cutscene, and then you'll make one choice, and then it'll be like 4 more minutes of cutscene, and then you'll like walk from a door to another door, and then it'll be another 4 minutes of cutscene. Like,
wow,
it's just tons of cutscene, and I'm with you. I'm 100% with you, but even more so. Like, I think that like it's 2023. We've got such cool games now. Like, why am I not just playing through the cutscene? You know, give me something to do during that cutscene.
well,
Yeah, remember, I'm choosing Bastion because I know you've played it, Zach. But remember, Bastion, you press new game, and then the kid is in bed, and then you press a button, and it's like the kid wakes up, and boom, it's the game you're playing.
And every bit of that game is delivered to you while you're playing. Every bit of story,
the whole story, it's
delivered
really well done
while you're playing. Yeah, that's the kind of stuff that I love. I love it when a game like is like, here is the story, but like we're gonna let you play while you're doing the story because that's the way it should be. You're playing the character, you know.
And Bastion is a 6-hour game. It's really compact. There's no bloat in that. It's I don't think there's 1 second you're not pressing a button in that game. It's really.
No.
It's all gameplay, but there's a lot of story to it, even if it's all gameplay. So yeah, it's a good example, I think.
Bastion is one of the best games I've ever played. Still,
it's a good game. It's a really good game.
Well,
made by like 6 person.
I think there's room for more storytelling games, like say, South of the Circle.
Oh
That
yeah,
game,
completely.
yeah.
This is absolutely. And I love narrative games. Until Dawn, The Quarry. I love them. Yeah.
And I like a
I
good
have to say,
Telltale
my
too.
favorite is what Zach is talking about, where you got the open world and you decide what to do.
Yes, that's Gru. I'm telling you, the things that get me out of bed, that get my ears perked up and my eyes perked up, is heavy customization and procedural generation, because I know that experience is going to be mine and mine alone, and I'm going to get to do whatever I want in that experience every time I enjoy it. You know, I love that stuff. I would much rather let you give me a sandbox and let me tell the story through my actions than necessarily you throw story at me. And with the heavy narrative stuff like Telltale and the Quarry guys and all of that stuff, even that stuff is constantly giving you a choice. You know what I mean? You're constantly like, you're watching it and then there's a choice thrown at you. There's an action you have to do. You have to make a decision, you know, like you have to be involved in it. You're playing that story. I hate when they have these big games where the playing isn't the story. Instead, it's like whatever you're doing in the world. And then the cutscenes are just there, like set in stone. You can't change what they are. And I hate that. I would much rather have, if you're going to do those big cutscenes, give me some authority over them. You know what I mean?
Yep, I would agree with that. All right. I didn't have any other apart from the obvious microtransactions. But the unscapable cutscene is what is getting me.
Show isn't long enough to talk about that.
I don't think they even need to be talked about. Everybody knows.
Yeah, we all know. We all hate them. No. But we all buy them anyway. All right, so we are a gaming podcast, but we need to tackle some important society question. And this time, here's the question. Do you think that NASA invented thunderstorms to cover up the sound of space battles?
That is a tinfoil hat question right there.
Yeah. It's our first time dipping our toes in conspiracy theories. So what do you think? Do you think there's battle in space, but it's covered by thunderstorm?
I think thunderstorms have to be real. I'd love for there to be battles in space, but I enjoy thunderstorms too much to think that a bunch of NASA jerks made it for me. Like, I want that to be a natural phenomenon.
Yeah, so no Gundam then, right? There's no... Gundams aren't real. Armored Core 6 is lying to me.
You are just completely wrong. Obviously. There are space
Well, I've had 41 years of being wrong, Gru. I'm not going to start now being right.
Come on, think about it. NASA. Naturally, all sus aliens.
Oh, that's the first time I'm hearing this one.
Merchandising. Put it on a shirt. I would buy that shirt.
Yeah, we've made a lot of shirt today. That's money in the bank.
I would buy that shirt. I would definitely buy that shirt. That's phenomenal, Gru. Phenomenal. Obviously, you are right. I am wrong. That goes without saying.
All right. So I guess this is it for this time.
And you didn't say what you think.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I want to be shrouded in mystery. Nobody will know. Nobody will know what I think about this.
He is the NASA. He's pulling a NASA right now.
But yeah, and Zach, I mean, everybody knows you, but if you want to plug your stuff to the same 25 people that usually watch this podcast and to which have already plugged your stuff before, but go ahead, Zach.
I feel like if I plug now, I'm gonna look like an a-hole. You definitely set me up to not look good for that plug.
Yeah, go. I'm gonna put link in the description to Zach's channel. They're doing a weekly podcast. They're super consistent. I'm not. So if you want a podcast every Wednesday morning, you will have one.
I don't want people to think super consistent is the word that should define my channel. That's for sure.
You're putting a lot of content, though. It's crazy.
A lot of content. I need to work on myself and not do more content. Is definitely a goal of mine.
I've looked. I don't know how you've been doing this for how long.
We are about at. I believe we're in 4 years now. Going on 5, something like that. Yeah, I've been doing it for a while.
And there's 1,400 videos on Old Man Gaming's channel.
Yes.
This is absolutely crazy.
And I don't think that includes the streams. I don't think it
counts. Yeah, I don't think it counts.
Right now, specifically, we've shifted a little bit. We're doing half tabletop role-playing games due to a kind of a unofficial partnership with Wizards Respite, which is at wizardsrespite.com, if you don't mind that extra plug. And he does the tabletop role-playing game stuff. So we've been doing a lot of live plays with him, which is it's a lot of fun. I also own a role-playing game company that I manage called Axiom Games LLC, which is nice. We have a game out right now. Drive Through Games, search Getting Over. It is a solo professional wrestling promoter simulation game that you can play by yourself with pen and paper and a couple of dice. And it basically procedurally generates for you the problems that would face your wrestling company, and it procedurally generates wrestlers for you to then book and stuff like that. So it's a fun experience. You can play it with a friend. They do their own wrestling company, and you kind of book against each other. It's fun. We're actually streaming that on Mondays if any of that sound interested. As far as the gaming content, I don't know why I strayed into TTRPG first. As far as the gaming content, I've cut back on my streams because I was doing too much for a thing that makes me no money. But I still do some streams here and there, but we do OMG, which is myself and a guy I know, Grandpa Gamer. We play 2023 GM mode against each other, which is basically the video game version of the role-playing game I just explained. But we film it. It's a lot of fun. That comes out Thursdays. Sundays, I play Prelude to Divorce. That's with my wife. She is not a gamer. I am a gamer. I force her to play games, and she gets mad at me and makes fun of me. That's really the show, and it's great. And then we're also doing the Red Fall Down on Saturdays. I've talked too much. I do the podcast with my friend Neil. That comes out on YouTube every Wednesday and on Spotify and all the other podcast places on Tuesday morning. And we talk. We were talking about news. Now we're doing a little bit more of a fun talking point, and then we do the news so that my mental health stays in check.
Gaming news are depressing. That's for sure.
Yeah, gaming news is a cesspool.
I like the shift of. I like the direction that you've taken with the podcast. I think
I would have to say you are our biggest fan, so that's a good thing. So I guess we're on the right track there. But that's what I do. I've talked too much about a plug I said I wasn't going to make. So just go check out Old Man Gaming. And that has everything we have there. And as far as my gaming company, if you're a TTRPG person, I don't know why you would be, but if you are, check out Axiom Games LLC. You can find us on Twitter as well. That also has all my link tree to all my different games that we have produced. And other stuff. So there you go. That's me. Right. That's me in a plug. And I'm sorry, I took like 20 minutes to plug something that I said I wasn't going to plug, but
it was more like 2, but it's fine.
Hyperbole is my middle name.
Thanks for coming on such a short notice.
I just want to say thank you for having me. You guys have a wonderful podcast. I know that it comes out when it comes out, but I always enjoy listening to it. You are both wonderful people. You're both very positive about things, and it is just a nice, fun listen every time I get to listen to it. And William, you're basically a friend now. Like, you started as a fan of the podcast and you're just like a buddy now. It's just so great to be invited onto this podcast. I really appreciate being here. You guys are wonderful. Keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah, well, thank you. We'll try.
Apple Arcade, sponsor these people.
Yeah,
Sponsor.
yeah, please.
In our 5 years.
And yeah, Gru, thanks for talking games with me as usual. It was a pleasure to have you.
As usual, it was super fun.
All right. So I guess this is it. Have fun. Comment on the podcast, please, Mike. Mike, leave us a comment.
Don't leave me alone, Mike. Don't leave me alone.
don't let us down. Please comment. All right. I guess this is it. We're done. Bye.
Bye.
Have a good one.
Bye.